Sunday. Side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here! Relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp at mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands with the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
Shake hands with danger. Meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe.
Yeah, you may have three fingers, but I hope you have the one you need to turn the dial or push the button on your car radio to tune you into Motormouth Radio, because you have tuned into Long Island's only automotive talk show with your hosts, Ray Guarino, Three-Finger Joe on the side, and MatcoMan Brian today, sitting in for Chris Switzer. How are you, Brian?
Hey, Ray, what's going on? I just want to let you know I went through 3 different time zones to make sure I got here at noon.
Oh, geez, where were you? What were you doing today?
Well, you know, some of the clocks reset themselves, some don't. So when you walked into one room to another room to a different floor, you went through a couple different time zones.
That's funny as heck. You know, I tell you what I do. I've always been kind of nuts about this. I always make sure I do it the night before. It's like 10, 11 o'clock. I'm going around the house, resetting all the analog clocks and, you know, the ones that don't update, even the digital ones. And, you know, for a couple hours, I'm like, oh my God, it's late. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yeah.
Well, we only have a few that are old school, and most of them change by themselves. It's bad enough, like, I guess for the alarm and the AC or air conditioning, they changed like 3 days or 4 days ago. So it really kind of messed with your mind, because you're like, is it that time? And but we'll be all out of whack for a couple days, and hopefully with everything else in the world, we'll get back on track.
Yeah, I adapt a little better than I used to now. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. And there was light when I woke up this morning, so that's a good thing.
That is very true. Very true.
All I care about. So yeah, we're back at it again. You fill in for Chris. He's got some family stuff to do today, which is good. And yeah, we're going to talk car stuff. Going to talk shop. I have we'll kick it right off. I got to tell you something. Last week, I saw something across the street from me. I have a neighbor. Him and his wife are both in the medical field, so they own like an Audi SUV and a new Porsche SUV. They got some schkarol, a little bit of bucks over there. So he usually backs that Porsche into the driveway, which he did. It was a rainy night. It was Wednesday. And my wife actually came up and said, hey, the guy across the street, the lights are on, you know, on his car. What's up? I'm like, yeah, I've seen him do that. He'll come home and maybe he's, I don't know, got a last call, or he's text. I don't know what he's doing. He'll sit in the car maybe, and you know, the lights will be on, and then he goes in the house. So I said, yeah, don't worry about it. Well, an hour or so later, the lights were still on. I'm like, whoa, because he's got, you know, there's xenon lights, I guess, and they're coming across the street, not directly lined up at my house, just a little off, but you can clearly see the light.
Right.
And I kept checking through the night, and that car was sitting there in the rain with the tail lights on. You see him against the red lights against the garage door, headlights on. I went to bed like 12:30, whatever. Got up in the morning, the lights were still on.
Wow.
I said to myself, all right, he's going to have a dead battery in the morning. That thing's LEDs are out. That thing's going to be shot by the morning. No, in the morning, the lights were on, because I walked to the window and looked. And then I walked into the kitchen to tell my wife, and by the time I walked back, the car was gone. So he came out, got in it, and left. I'm like, what the hell kind of battery is in that thing?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I meant to tell you about that on Thursday night on Plane in Traffic and never got around to it. So let's hear it for Porsche Electronics, I guess. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Ridiculous, ridiculous. Now, I guess, with LEDs, obviously your draw is very light, but there's other things that could be on, I don't know. I don't know. So that was pretty cool. That was nice. I guess, if you go to the mall, leave your lights on, you're not going to. But I thought they'd be automatic, truthfully. I figured they had automatic.
Yeah, they should have been. You
So I
would
still
think.
don't know what happened. The thing that was getting me was like, wow, this vehicle's out there in the rain. And all I thought of was when we had Hurricane Sandy up here many years ago, the cars that were hybrids, there weren't really any true EVs at the time, that got caught up in the flood, all of a sudden their lights came on. They energized and the lights came on, and a lot of them burned with the flood water. So that's all I could think. Like, it's in the rain, the lights are on. What's going on? So,
Yeah.
but if you have a Porsche or you want to talk about lights or batteries, you can give us a call at 516-572-7440. We can talk about it. We'll talk about all our normal stuff, our tool truck stuff. I got some another wild story about an EV, but we'll let that. We'll give it a little bit of air. So. Yeah. So what's new down on your front? Anything happen?
Not much. I was really kind of surprised. We've had some really nice Sundays here. A little bit on the cool side, but the last couple weeks, the car show scene hasn't really kicked off yet. I don't know what's going on. I was hoping to find, when I went out this morning, I was hoping to see a few cars before we got talking about cars, and it's been kind of quiet. So either somebody's or a lot of people have a lot of projects going on, and the winter bug isn't over yet, or we're just too afraid to take them out.
That's interesting you say that, because I've been getting some stuff. I saw it on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram. There's not far from my house, at the train station, it's a big cruise night. It's been going on for many, many years. And in fact, it's so big and has so much attention now, and that we don't go anymore. My group of guys, we just avoid it because it's like amateur hour. It used to be, 10, 15 years ago, all the old guys, some of the old guys would be there in the afternoon. There'd always be someone there at 4:30 in the afternoon staking out his spot,
Right.
And then, people would roll in usually around 5, 6 or whatever. And then the old guys would leave probably by 8. And then, the place was still vibrant, always cooking. And usually it used to be at about 11. The crowd was kind of thin, maybe half to a quarter. And then the tuner guys would roll in, the younger guys. And then like some of the other guys say, okay, it's time for us to go. We're out of here. Well, now that everything is shifted. The tuner guys are now coming in early. Old guys aren't going at all, but it got to be a real, just kind of, it's too much of a conflict of, I don't want to say conflict of interest. And a lot of guys are out there doing burnouts on the highway, which they shouldn't be doing. They used to throw the police through there on mounted horses to stop things. I haven't seen that in a while. I heard it's because the Chamber of Commerce is involved. But regardless, so guys like me and my buddy Kevin, we go to other events. We'll go to other cruise nights where it's like, a bunch of older guys and it's quiet and no one's, there's no shenanigans. But that is kicking off already. And I got another in March. They're going to go March to October. So crazy. So we
got a phone call there.
We do. So let's good eyes. Okay, we got to get Chris's eyes checked. He never sees it. Let's go to the phones and go to the phone and say, hi, caller. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on?
How am I coming in?
Yeah, I'd say 5 by 5.
Awesome.
Yeah. What's happening, Christian? You've been a busy fellow lately, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I was just literally checking my sugar sap for my syrup today.
Okay.
I was coming out checking with the refractor, so I got to boil off the rest today. So that's my day today. But yes, between everything going on in the racing.
For those who don't know, Christian, by the way, taps his own trees and makes his own syrup, which I've yet to get my hands on. But you've actually won awards for that syrup, haven't you?
Yes, I've gotten some ribbons. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a process, and it's that time of year right now. So this is my season for it, as well as the beginning of the racing season. So I get whacked pretty hard.
Right.
We're getting the trailer ready and the sprinters, and everybody was down at Daytona. And yesterday was the 83rd Daytona 200.
Wow.
And what I wanted to mention today, I would like to dedicate this show, if I could, to Joseph Lemandry Jr.
Okay.
Joseph is a Long Islander who raced yesterday in the 83rd Daytona 200 as a privateer.
Okay.
And came in the top 10. And that is pretty impressive for a young guy who used to work for us, and he works for his dad now, but they're from Garden City.
Nice.
The Lemandrys have been a racing family. I've worked with Joe since he was a young kid when he started racing in Mini GP. So he's been trying to get sponsorship. We've been trying to work it and trying to get different companies to sponsor him. It's not easy.
Right.
You know, but he was racing on the Baus Racing R6 yesterday in the 200. And for who's listening, the Daytona 200 has been one of the oldest American races going since 1937.
And you've been involved in that for a while with building engines, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been an engine builder for it, now suspension. I've been involved with the Daytona 200 behind the scenes for about 25 plus years now.
Wow. I didn't think you were that old, Christian.
Yeah. I'm 38 years in this industry. It's insane. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And about 15 years of maple sugaring. So
yeah. Hey, well, the maple sugar will definitely keep you going. I'll give you the energy. You know?
It's a lot, you know, between getting ready for the 200 and you know, it used to be like that, building engines and draining sap buckets and boiling, and it's a good thing because it gets you outside.
Right.
So Christian, I got a question. Do you run the sap in the motors? Is that what keeps them together?
Hey, if I have to tell you, I have to kill you.
I guess
how many trees do you got tapped?
Well, I do the trees over at the day camp where my daughter goes for summer camp. So I do it with the fourth graders too as well. So I probably have about 5 or 6 trees over there, and I got about 3 or 4 here over in Hot Porsche. I'm always looking to do more, so I'm always trying to get other people involved. The more the merrier, but I'm also building an RO system so that I can process the sap down. It's you know, when you test the sap coming out of a tree, it's about 2% sugar content, and you need to get 66 by the time you make syrup. So do the math. It's 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup.
Wow.
Almost as good as Grandpa's cough syrup.
Right.
Oh yeah, forget about that. Well, if you talk to Gerard from Rolling Thunder, he's very, very partial to the what is that? Caro? What is that stuff?
Yeah, Gerard is a Caro syrup guy. That's correct. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's probably, you know, you could take that and brown sugar, a little bit of corn pop, and make yourself a nice little, you know, what do they call that? Some sort of corn pop brittle stuff or whatever. But yeah.
I'll tell you something else, Christian. When I was down in North Carolina, I was in one of these rooftop bars, and I got this cocktail. It was kind of like a mint julep, but they used like a syrup instead of simple syrup. They used like a, you know, like that type of a syrup and the fresh mint. Oh my God! I've been trying to replicate it now for 2 years and I can't do it. But
that's because you're crazy.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
You're trying to reverse engineer everything. We don't reinvent the wheel. We just do it in reverse.
Exactly.
That's the whole process, you know. Like I just go to the store and buy syrup. I mean,
right.
What am I doing?
Exactly. Exactly.
But, you know, but yeah, I would really like to congratulate Joe.
Yes. Hats off to him.
Finishing. I mean, and so the people who are listening understand that 57 laps of the Daytona Speedway involves the motorcycles racing on the high banks down into the infield. It's a 3.5 mile lap, 57 laps of 3 pit stops. The bikes do get new tires and fueled up in a pit stop, and these pit stops are very impressive.
Right.
So for Joe, his father, and everyone they cobbled together, Baus Racing, Anthony Corbo, who owns Baus Racing, to provide Joe with the ride. They pay for this. This comes out. These are privateers to run with the big boys. This is not this, and this is a family from Long Island. So that's a Long Islander representing in one of the oldest races in the United States.
Yeah.
I just want the listeners to understand that how important that is for us here on Long Island.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work and dedication, and it definitely takes some bruises getting that far, but that's awesome.
And even to say, you know, it's a 3 mile lap. That does only 3 miles. Try it.
Oh, it eats tires. These guys blister up tires like that. Even you would think with all the tire technology, motorcycle racing is probably one of the most strenuous, besides NASCAR and stuff. But just the tire technology to keep up with it. They were blistering tires in these races this weekend,
Yeah.
and you come in for a pit stop, you get a new set of tires. And they got to go back out there. Now they get on a fresh set of tires, and they tear them up, and 10, 15 laps, come back in for it's 57 laps. It's a 200-mile race, and that started in 1937. This is older than NASCAR.
Yeah, imagine in 37 doing that. Yeah, with the the machinery of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, on the beach.
Right.
The race on the beach, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of history involved, and you know how I am with that.
Yep.
So it's important for people to represent, and racing it keeps the economy going too. And a lot of people have to realize with the economy, everyone complains about the price of eggs and everything. Let me tell you something: go race a motorcycle, pay for the fuel, pay for the tolls just to get there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it involves families. It's not just one person to go race. It involves a family, a racing team, their families traveling to spending the money in the hotels,
food, right, lodging, a whole bit. Yeah.
You need to get that back up here. If we have back here, we could have those races here. You bring in economy back into Long Island. I'm just saying this out loud right now because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, things up here like where Brian is in Maryland. It's they pave paradise, make it a parking lot. It's that's the sad fact.
And plant sugar maples.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, the Pine Barrens. I mean, we got they're burning out there today, right now on Sunrise Highway.
Yeah, well, that's supposed to happen though. That's how nature does it. And even obviously that wasn't nature. That was someone probably flipping a cigarette out.
They actually did say they think this might have been set. Yeah.
Yeah, or listen, I'm boiling sap with propane, so please don't think I'm part of that. So,
Yeah.
But plant the trees. Yeah, it's
Right.
it's a
Without a doubt.
What else I have to say? Anything else? No, I guess that's it. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I
All right,
wanted
Christian.
to congratulate Joe. I just want to get the mention of Joe out there.
Yes, very good.
We're trying to get him sponsorship, and I've been working on it. And it's there's a lot of optic on him. He's qualified, and his lap times are right there with the pros.
Nice.
So and just so people understand, a lap at the Daytona 200 is about 1 minute 48 seconds. It's like the fastest lap times.
That's quick. Yeah.
And fast, and they're riding on the high banks of Daytona on these motorcycles about $180.
Yeah.
600 cc.
No room for error.
Bikes.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a lot.
Yes, it is. It is.
And then they had the bagger race afterwards, and Kyle Wyman, I mentioned him too. He took the win yesterday. And the bagger racing is, and the hooligan. Actually, who was there pitted next to us? Actually, was Keanu Reeves.
Oh, wow.
With his new company, The Arch, was racing this year.
Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. That's Keanu Reeves. That's a manufacturer of motorcycles made in the USA.
Nice.
People. Not even Harley Davidson's a made in USA. Oops, did I just say that?
Yeah, don't say Oops. Yeah.
You want an American motorcycle? Go to Rolling Thunder. Buy something 1975 and earlier.
Exactly. There you go.
There you go, drive.
All right, Christian. Thank you very much, brother, for the call. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, guys.
All right. So long.
Take care.
With Christian. And you can be like Christian and give us a call at 516-572-7440. Things that people think were made in America and aren't, and everybody gets all upset about it, but shouldn't. I don't know. That's a whole nother topic. We've talked about that at nauseam.
I don't think we have time for that, Ray.
No, we definitely don't.
No, especially. So
yeah,
but everything's going good. Hopefully we get the car thing going up, get some nice weather. Like I said, I'm itching. Of course, for people that don't know, me working on the Mustang, getting that back
behind you. Yes. Now,
as you can see, I'm in the same spot I was Thursday, but the car keeps getting a little further.
I see that. Yeah, I could see more of it now. Yeah, and this show will go up on YouTube on Motormouth Video later on today, this afternoon. I'll post it there so you can watch it, and you can see the deck lid of Brian's car sitting behind over his right shoulder right there. And
Like I said, I keep moving it around. Luckily, I got some wiggle room, and I work on one spot. You can roll it here, move it there. It's I just hope I keep the momentum going.
I think you will because you believe in it, you feel it, and you own it. So I think you will. I went to the shop yesterday to see my buddy who owns the '66 Mustang we've been working on. He's been doing some work on the car at that shop, and when I walked in, he says, "Hey, did you see the car?" And I was like, "No, I haven't been here since for a couple of days." He goes, "Look," and there it was. They primed it. Well, it looks like it's painted in hot rod black. That matte
Oh
black.
yeah,
What a difference in the car. Like, wow, now it really looks like something. It's in one color. So he was doing a little more work to it, stripping some parts off, and like they had left the taillight assemblies in and masked them. I said, why were they left in? They should have been taken out. And the reverse light assemblies were hanging out of the valance. He goes, I didn't know how to get those off. And I was like, I'll show you. So we looked in the trunk. I said, look, follow these wires. You grab it and watch what moves. Follow these wires coming up. Here's two wires that are bananaed together. Disconnect that. The other wire goes to a ground. That's the ground that goes to the post on the taillight. So take those four nuts off, put a 7/16 mid or deep socket, and that'll come out. And I pulled the reverse light thing out. He goes, wow. He goes, that was fast. I was like, well, yeah, when you know where to go, what to do, it is fast. It's so I said, you'll get there. So now he was debating what to do for a dashboard because the gauges are it's old and crappy looking and the wire
yeah.
miserable. He found one online. He was going to go Dakota Digital, but he found a guy that had a 66 cluster. And I tell you, Brian, the plastic chrome was bright and shiny, beautiful, original gauges and all. Sold it to him. The guy wanted like $200, gave it to him for $150. Buy it now.
Wow, it's a good deal.
He took it for $150, and now he's going to buy a dash harness. But he was looking at a harness. I think he was looking at one that was about $1,000. It was about $1,000.
Yeah.
So he may shop that around a little bit. But
the biggest, well, that's one. Of course, I had pulled all the wiring out of mine, and it's funny because the fuse box in that car in the 66 here is like a pack of cigarettes size.
Yes.
And you look at, a newer car and it's like 4 times bigger than that. And, I've been looking, of course, I'm a long way to get to the rewiring part of the car. I still have a handful of other things to do, but I started looking. And the only thing that kind of drives me crazy is I understand about upgrading and improving to a point, but when you really, it's not like I'm gonna have a lot of electronics in the car. I don't really need to upgrade. I just like to replace what I have.
Right.
And that's kind of hard because everybody wants you to go to the new style fuses, or instead of having 8, you have 12 now. I don't know. Like I said, it's a big expense for something that
I'll tell you, maybe I can help you out with this because just yesterday I got on this kick to look for a intermittent wiper system for my car, and Detroit Auto Speed or Detroit Speed makes one. It's like $650. Get the hell out of here. I found another one. It's a small company in California. These guys are electronic guys, and they made a module. They made a box that just wires between the wiper switch and the harness, and you use the switch to do your sweep. So you put it in on low. I watched the video. You put it on, you have low and high, but if you put it on low, you got to go back, and then you use the button to increment it to give you like different seconds of increment of sweep, or you can go back to on, and it's under $100.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking, and I said, okay, that's good. They also sell a little fuse panel, an additional fuse panel with 6 circuits. So you run a 10 gauge wire to your battery with a fusible link, and you mount it in the car wherever you like, and now it gives you 6 more tappable circuits. Because I was looking at this the wiper box also needs a dedicated power and ground. I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of running out of powers and grounds I can always find, but I'm running out of power taps in the car, and I'm thinking I may buy that little fuse box just to put an additional one next to the regular one. Again, because I kept the glass fuses in my car. I didn't change that.
Yeah.
And now I'll have another 6 circuits that I could tap off of and dedicate. So that's another way of doing it. I'll send you a link to their stuff. I'll send it to you later on. It's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Well, I'm pretty old school. I mean, you've already given me an earful because I still have a single reservoir master cylinder
Well,
on the car, but
that goes without saying. That deserves,
but
that's a no-brainer.
I know,
Well,
but I live on the edge, with 3 fingers.
I know. Our new no-brainer takes us back to the phones, and we'll say, "Hi, caller. You're on with the Motor Mouths."
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Hey, Bob, what's happening? You're on with Ray, and we got MatcoMan Brian today.
That was a great story from Daytona.
Oh, from Christian, yes.
Oh, man, Christian killed it.
Yep.
How are you, Brian?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Well, good here. So I wanted to share with you the 66 Mustang. We had a maroon 66 Mustang, 2+2, fastback, black interior, had a pony interior
Nice.
with the gauges, what was it, attack?
Gauges up
Was
on
it
top of the dash, right?
No, it was actually on the steering column.
Oh,
Yeah, the rally pack.
yeah. Gotcha. Cool.
And it got wrecked in front of the house. A knucklehead down the block. She was a piece of work. She rear-ended it and pushed it into Mr. McGrath's oak tree.
Ooh, it's not good.
So we lost the car.
Yeah. What year was that, Bob?
I was a 66. And
What year was the accident, the wreck?
Oh, okay. That was. Give me 1 second. That was 74. It had to have been 70. It had to have been 74.
All right, so you're still looking at an under 10-year-old car. It was a pretty new car, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 66 fastback with pony interior, which is exactly what I have. That's what I own. There was only 4,200 of those cars made, that style with the pony interior. That was the deluxe interior.
I don't remember if I think it was the 289, just the 2-barrel. I don't think it was the 289 HO, high output.
Okay.
No, it could have been was it it wasn't a GT or just a regular Mustang 2+2?
Right. I don't believe it was a GT.
Because you had optional, I had the optional A motor, which is did have a 4-barrel. Then you had the K motor, which is the hypo, which is the 271 horsepower versus the 225. And they did have a 2-barrel, which was 200 horsepower. That was 2-barrel.
I tell you, I had a couple cars with the 2+2 that fold down back. Man, it's
Yep.
it is. You don't believe how great it is until you know how great it is.
That's nice.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So, what was interesting about that car was that it was an automatic, and we had a 65 coupe also. That was a 289 2-barrel. On the transmission, it was a 3-speed, but they had like this little dot, little indication, little indent.
Yeah.
That they wanted you to ride around in town on that, and then when you not knowing this until later on, you would throw it up to the gear selection just above that little indentation.
It was the Cruiser-matic.
Right, Cruiser-matic. But I was trying to remember the name. Yes, that was the tranny option. Yeah, very cool. Cool.
I mean, who would have thought? Because you're basically riding around where that indent is, and then when you, for whatever reason, you get in the parkway, whatever, you throw it into third, I guess, or you throw it into
Like a manual shift body.
Yeah.
And pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question for you guys.
What do you got?
What's the acceptable age on just getting tires sent to you, and how old the tire is? Just say from the manner the named auto body tire places around by us, and or by internet. How old can that tire be when they send it to you?
Oh, you mean like so? So what's the restriction on their side for what they can sell?
What's the my question is, what's the norm?
I've only bought tires online once. It was from Tire Rack. I bought snow tires, so I haven't bought. I mean, and then again, online, yeah. When you buy them, you can probably take them from a warehouse. Brian, do you know if they have any I don't. I mean, they turn over a lot of tires. They turn them over, so I don't think they get really a chance to get too old in their warehouses because
Well, how old is acceptable?
uh, that's another good question. I'm going through that with, of course, Chris is driving on 20-something-year-old tires on his Chrysler. My buddy Kevin, we were just talking about this. He's got beautiful looking tires on his car, but they're way out of date. They're like 20 years old.
Right. Okay. All
I
right.
think, Brian, have you ever heard a number on that? 6, 8,
I,
10
I
years?
can't really remember, and I want to say I know that it was I want to say it was like 5 years
Okay.
time frame. I know 10 years you're really
Yeah.
pushing it because they can get, especially how they were stored. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Right. Well,
Um,
assuming they're in a warehouse, and even the tires on cars at our houses, they're in the garage, they're out of the UV. They get temperature shift, but they don't have UV, which is the killer.
Right.
But they still can degrade, and actually they can delaminate. And I had
Right.
one delaminate on my Impala right in my driveway, just sitting there. The tread just peeled away from the carcass. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Good thing that was.
I had on my Quattro, I had gotten a flat and I'd put the spare on, and oddly enough, the spare with it was 20 years old, and
Yeah.
I always put air in it, but I went to use it, and it came apart on me.
Yeah.
So that day it took me 3 spare tires to get the car home.
Yeah.
Because I actually had 2 in one day go out. I mean, come apart. So
Yeah.
even the spare tires.
Bob, typically we talk about tires. People figure, I think the tire manufacturers think tires are going to last on a car maybe 20, 30,000, I think. I don't think, I mean, I've heard of people getting 40K out of a set of tires, but that's really extreme. I know hypermilers too, so that's another weird
Yeah.
bunch.
I was curious about, ordering the tires, and I looked at the date on the tires. I looked up the 4 numbers that you looked up,
Yes, yes.
and they were built. I can share with you. I mean, I don't care.
Okay.
They were built 18 months ago, and I'm like, And I'm
Okay.
thinking, well, cars sit on the lot sometimes for a year,
Yeah, yeah.
and I gave them the really good once over,
I think they're
And,
fine. I mean,
yeah,
all the
I
tires I've
just-
bought locally from Tire Town or whoever, I always look at the date, and they're always usually within that year. I mean, now it wouldn't be within, maybe not within 220. It could have been late 24, which is still very acceptable.
Okay.
Again, it comes down to turnover, how many they turn over. But 18 months, I don't, that's not bad because you could have had them on your car for 18 months, and this.
Yeah, I was just curious. As I said, I really gave them the once over, and I keep my tires. I keep them. I keep the sidewalls lubricated. I keep them shined, and that helps a lot on. That helps a lot on knocking down the UV.
Yes, it does. Yes.
So
Without doubt.
enough of my nonsense.
All right.
You guys have a great week. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
It's kind of funny there, Ray. I kind of Googled it real quick. We all go to the internet, and they said that there is no time limit to sell a tire in the United States.
Okay.
But they say best practice, a tire lifespan is 5 years.
5 years. Okay. So that, again, if you're going by a 20, 30, 35,000 mile use, and if the car is used an average of, 8 to 10,000 miles a year, there you go. You're within that realm. You're within that window. And that's kind of normal tire turning over. But we get to the collector car thing like we have, and our cars aren't driven nearly as much. And they don't accumulate that kind of miles every year. So
Yeah.
I know plenty of guys with beautiful tires on their cars that are 20 years old, and it's I guess you're taking a risk when you run out on them. But yeah,
It's just one of those could give you a exciting Friday night.
without a doubt. So I'll tell you what else is exciting. It's the bottom of the hour, which is always exciting around here. And we got to do a few spots. So let me tell you about a new contest here. It's the app contest. You can win a $100 gift card. Brian, you would love this place. Uncle Bacala's Italian Seafood and More. We go there regularly. It's a great place, right by Pirate Paul's house. Just for downloading and using the free WHPC app. You listen to WHPC anytime, anywhere, and register on there to win the $100 gift card inside the app. Uncle Bacala's Italian Seafood and More is located at 23-70 Jericho Turnpike in Garden City Park. I can't say enough good things. Now I want to go there for dinner. And the WHPC app is located in your Google Play or Apple App Store. Good luck from the voice of Nassau Community College and the free WHPC app. So we have weather. I have to look outside the WHPC weather window, and I see that we're powered by, our forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. Great bagels. But today we're mostly sunny. It was kind of nice out, becoming cloudy, high of 52. I'll take that. Tonight, clear skies, low of 42. Very good. Tomorrow, we're looking at more highs about 59. And it's probably in the 40s and sunny out there, which is nice. So, and I know I ask you every time, I always ask you if you threw something together to replace Chris with the honor group of the hour. So I'll ask you again. You got a thought, a word of wisdom for us?
Well, the words of wisdom today is if you are playing with sheet metal and you get these little razor cuts and all you have is either super glue to glue your fingers, the cuts back together, or electrical tape, you could be a motor mouth listener.
Very good. I believe that definitely qualifies. Very good, Brian.
I've ran out of super glue. I forgot when I'm playing with sheet metal, it can get kind of sharp.
Liquid sutures. Yeah, without a doubt. All right. So with that, let's take our break. We'll play a couple spots here, and we'll be back with more Motor Mouth Radio. We'll play some more music that Chris hates, but Brian, I think, might like it a little bit. It's kind of a little more rocking. And we'll be back with more on 90.3 WHPC. Keep it where you got it.
We'll be back with answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the Motor Mouth thing.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
This is Dennis Pitzenberger from Sticker Shock, and if you're not listening to Motor Mouth Radio, boy, you are lost in the smoke of the burnout. Make sure and tune in each and every week because these guys are exactly what you want to hear. Real car guys, real talk, every single weekend.
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motor Mouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Yeah, you might learn something, just like Chassis John always says. We love to hear that every week. Nice quick break. We're back with more Motor Mouth Radio, Ray Guarino and MatcoMan Brian this week. Give us a call, 516-572-7440, and we'll talk cars and shop. And Brian, I want to talk to you about something else that I saw yesterday at the shop. One of the guys, and Nick, if you're listening, this is your time to call because you were the guy that turned us on to this. They have a Tesla in the shop, and there was an issue with the right headlight. It was out. So I think they changed the light, and that didn't fix it. And then they... He was doing all sorts of diagnostics, checking modules, and I mean, he was going through all sorts of crazy stuff. You know what? Let's go to the phones. We'll take a quick break here. Back to the phone. Say yes, call. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey guys, it's Jim.
What's happening, Jim?
Hey, Jim.
A quick shout out to Justin for that Daytona 200 race report.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been involved with racing quite a bit, and not racing myself though, which that's my problem. But racing is that next step up, and most people don't understand what it takes to go racing versus just being an enthusiast and doing it. So the results that Joe had, especially for a privateer like that, are really good. So, congrats to him, and hopefully he gets the sponsorship he needs.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Very true.
So you guys were talking tires, and I just wanted to give my quick story. When I first got the Impala rims for the wagon, I put some decent tires on it, the Kumos, and when I first put them on, I was like, "Wow, these are great!" And drove the car spirited. It was a lot of fun to drive, and I don't drive that car very often, so the car just sits in the garage for a long time. And the tires got to be about 8 years old. And one day I take it out and I start driving it spirited, and I'm like, wait a minute, something is really wrong here because the car is not handling nearly as well as it should. So I kind of talked to my mechanic. He's like, if you look at the tires, they're fine, plenty of tread, no signs of dry rot because, the car's in the garage 90% of the time. So I started doing a little research online, started contacting tire manufacturers and some of the distributors and stuff like that. And the interesting thing was none of them would come up with, okay, you can't go any older than this. They wouldn't own up to it whatsoever. I'm like, wow, that's not good. So I finally got to the point, okay, fine, I'm just gonna change the tires, put brand new tires on the car, and sure enough, everything came back.
Okay.
Come to find out that tires, especially rubber, age by themselves. Just leave them there, and they're aging right then and there.
Absolutely. And that's why I said the worst thing is when they're outside because you have the UV rays that deplete the pliability of the rubber. And at least inside in the garage, you're in a dark area, so you don't have that issue. But they still do degrade. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and rubber does harden with age. So, there isn't anything you can do about that.
Without a doubt.
And one thing is for sure, anybody with tires older than 10 years old, guys, you are risking your lives. Stop. Go buy new tires, please.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I know. It's, Jim, like, and your friends, I'm sure, and like my friends, I'm talking with my buddy Kevin about this. It's like, he's like, I know I should do this, but it's like, man, the BF Goodrich TA, radial TAs, they still look great. I'm like, yeah, they do. He goes, it's just, I hate to kind of just go out and buy, hate to do it because you have to, it's the outlay of the money for something that doesn't look bad. If the tires were crap, you'd say, all right, I feel good about it. So it's hard to change something. It's just like when you got to change over your wardrobe because you gained some weight and you're throwing out really perfectly good shirts. And I did that already twice. It's like, damn, I just threw out like $1,000 worth of dress pants because I can't fit in them anymore.
Right.
Let's get them out of here. All right. So you're right, Jim. You got to do what's right though to be safe. You're right.
Yeah, don't forget, and nobody should forget, the only thing between you and the road are your tires.
Yes, exactly.
And there's nothing else there.
Where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Jim. Thanks for the thought.
All right. See you, Brian.
Yep. Taking these.
All right. So long.
Getting back real quick, and this is one thing. This was a really pet peeve of mine when I turned wrenches, and I didn't make a lot of friends doing this. Because it was people want a tire plugged.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to explain, of course, working on a Porsche, and they're speed rated. That tire is no longer speed rated because it's compromised. It has a hole.
Right.
And you put a plug in it, and I'll just put a plug in, it'll be fine. And you're really on the edge. They're good. It's good for emergency. It's good to get someplace, but not to really drive on.
The reality is most of the guys like around here that are driving the Porsches that can afford them, they're not going over 60 miles an hour. They're not going 100. Now, I saw a guy at the UD with a Porsche a couple of years ago, and I'll put a picture up this week online. You'll see that. And this guy, carbon fiber brakes, giant brakes, full roll cage in the back. Yeah, this car was like, I think GT3, I think it was. This was, and he was running it. So good thought, good advice. So back to this Tesla, because we're running out of time, believe it or not. Nick had gone through modules and he ran down a litany of things he had checked and fuses and this and that and nothing. The light wouldn't come on. And it got to the point where he went into the diagnostic mode of the car. And there was, the way it was termed, I think it was like software, it wasn't a reset or a reboot, software reinstall. And he pushed that And what it did is it rebooted the whole car, and now the light came on. So he brought me in and he was showing me how that screen works. Like, my God, this thing has everything. You can do almost everything. Well, that was the other thing. He said, I think Kevin said to him, did you scan it? He goes, no, there's no ALDL. No ALDL in a Tesla. Like, wow, why? Well, there's no emissions. And that's really what you're scanning for. So without it, so here we are breaking tradition already. So guys that are working on EVs don't need to buy scanners. So
I have a Tesla dealership I go into, and I always get a kick out of it because the technician they ask the car,
yeah,
where have you been? And the car will tell you what shop, where it's been, and what was done. And they don't even, like I said, the customer may not remember or is trying not to tell you something, but the car will tell you where the car's been.
He was pulling up screens and showing me stuff like that with history, and like all because of this light being out, it set like other codes. I think there were little triangles, and it was in yellow. So it set a lot of those because it was related. But once he fixed it, now they all they'll go into like a history. I guess they'll go into a history folder. But I said, wow, this is talk about advancement. I mean, I was just blown away. You can look at the battery life. You can look at the battery charging to the second. You're looking at the amperage to the second on this thing.
We had a believe it or not, we had a incident in the streets of down here where a gun, somebody went shooting, and because of the noise, the Tesla turned on and videotaped the gun.
Oh, wow.
So, unfortunately the guy had shot somebody.
Right.
And of course it was a big thing. And it came down to, there's a Tesla sitting on the street, and the noise, it activated cameras and it recorded him and had a picture of him. So those cars, like I said, they're going to tell on you.
Amazing. I was just blown away. I only got to spend a few minutes in the car with him doing this, but it was awe-inspiring. I said, you know what? I never really had been in one of these. I haven't associated with it, but I can see that when you're trained in that system, you're never going to want to work on anything else again. I mean, you got to go to a regular car, and like it's got a problem. What? It can't tell me what the problem is? No, it can't. Wow.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to tell me to stop taking pictures when I go into the Tesla, because it's just amazing. And believe it or not, I cannot believe how much coolant they use, because you walk in and you're like, why you guys have all this coolant all over the place? But that's one of the forms of cooling the battery down. So there's always doing coolant flushes and so forth. But you think no engine or electric, why would you have coolant?
We were talking about that, Mike, because Mike had one on a lease and had to go back, but he was saying that he was explaining to us how in the winter they use more power than in the summer they use more power than in the winter. I thought it was the opposite, and the reason is because the coolant has to cool those batteries, and it goes into overtime mode in the summer. And so what if the coolant isn't going through any kind of it's not going through an internal combustion engine, so it's not getting any chemical transfer or ionization or any of that crazy stuff. It's literally just staying as coolant. Why does it have to be changed so much? I would think it wouldn't degrade. It would stay more stable for longer.
Well, I think some of it isn't that this is not being changed. It's just because when they're replacing the battery, and when they do a battery replacement, of course those cars have some of those issues. And they're replacing batteries, they don't reuse the old coolant. Okay. So that's why they have a lot of coolant going on. I would imagine if they, I know they use a BMW style coolant. I don't know if it's organic, which is, that's another whole storyline you'd have to get into.
That's the other thing. I wonder if they really need to be replacing it, and now how are they disposing of it? Because now you have, everybody talks about batteries in the environment, but now coolant in the environment is very bad too. So unless it's an oat based or the
organic
kind of I don't know what they use. Obviously, I don't know. Now you have the issue of the chemical disposal. So I guess there's always a price to pay is what the bottom line is. I don't know.
Yeah, I do know that it is a BMW coolant, because that's what they told me, because they
Okay.
they use. And I was really surprised, like I said, when the first time I went in there, the guy like, hey, I need a coolant pressure tester, and hey, I need this radiator cap, and I'm like, hey man, what are you talking about?
Worked on the boss's car. That was the thing. One of the things he showed me on the screen was he pulled up the HVAC, and we're watching the gas go through the lines. It was a schematic based, and you're watching you see the high side, the low side, like, wow. This is like pulling up, a Motors manual or an All Data or a Mitchell on demand, but in video form. And
right,
right
it's
there.
crazy.
Holy crap! I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it. I was just I was very very amazed. Yeah. So let's see. You know what? Let's try this. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to the phone. Hello, caller. You're on the Motor Mouse. Ray and Brian.
Yeah, another collect call. How you doing?
Hey, Bill. What's happening?
Okay, so we got a 2002 Ford Taurus. My neighbor calls. He says, my wife pulls in the driveway. She hears a pop. The tire's flat. So I go over there. I pull the tire off. I go to put the donut on. Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay. Driver's side front on the strut. The spring moved out of the bottom seat just enough to hit the sidewall of the tire.
Wow.
So obviously it's under a lot of tension there. Nothing seemed loose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they could beat that back into place with a sledgehammer or
that was a Ford?
hammer.
Right. A Ford,
Well,
Taurus.
A Ford, yeah, they had the springs broke.
It's got about 120 on it, and it looks like the original Ford stickers are on the struts, like they were never changed.
So there's a bottom seat. I mean, the spring usually clicks into a little notch in the bottom, and you always have that little raised part. So I would say it's got to be a strut failure at that point.
Yeah, the springs they had a recall on those, or the springs failed, and they would crack at right above the bottom seat and stick it and come out like that.
There you go. There was a recall on that, Bill.
The spring looked like it was all in one piece, but again, maybe I don't know what happened to it, but it had to move just enough when somebody made a hard turn that sidewall would rub into that edge of that spring that stuck out.
So the $64 question is she planning on keeping the car and driving it?
Yeah, they're headed to the local shop, and I don't know if the guy's really going to kill them with, 2 new struts.
You know what? Yeah, I would just say get
new springs, wheel alignment, and 1 new tire.
I would get a set of quick struts. Just get a set of quick struts, get 2 matching tires up on front, do the alignment. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be a bill they don't want to have to foot because of the expense. It's going to be this quick struts have come down in price though. They got kind of affordable, especially for the popular cars. And the labor to put them in, it's not that bad. I mean, literally, if you're doing a quick strut, it's the top bearing and the ball joint tie rod end.
Take the bolts out at the top.
Bing bang boom, you're done in. You can have a quick strut changed on one side in less than 15-20 minutes if nothing is frozen or seized.
There's I believe a big pinch bolt on the bottom.
Yes, that's right.
That holds that thing, and that they tend to get frozen.
Right. So, but in the shop, you have ways of doing that. You got the flame wrench, and some guys have an inductor tool where they can heat it up if it's that bad, and. But I would say, that's what they have to do. And that's, again, err on the side of safety. You're talking about your front end and you're steering, your braking and everything. So, yeah. Well, that's interesting. You get the weirdest calls, Bill. I got to say, your neighbors keep you busy with the craziest stuff.
And the worst thing is the guy knows where to find my phone number, like on a Sunday morning.
Exactly. Well, the other thing is when you go out to look at it, you're in an advisor role. You're not in the repairman role. So that's good.
Right. Yeah,
very cool.
It's called Stay Out of Trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Stay out of danger.
All right, I'll let you run.
All right, Bill. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right, Brian, we're ticking the minutes off. Boy, we're almost done.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's how it rolls. So yeah, I don't know. We got. I'm trying to get some guests coming up and all. We're gonna see what's happening here. I want to get a couple guys. I want to get. There was something tool related to I want to talk to you about now. And I should have wrote it down and I didn't. I can't remember what it was. I sent you a video recently about it was a tool video from YouTube. It was a history of Craftsman. Yeah, I think it was
The SK.
Oh, SK, right? That's what it was. And now popping up into my feed is like there's one about Williams and another one about Bonnie tools.
Yep.
And these are brands that we've all had, and you could. I don't remember ever being able to buy them in a store, but
well, like Williams, they do a lot. It depends on who you talk to or how you put it. They do a lot of stuff for Snap-on.
Okay.
Bonnie used to make our wrenches a long time ago. I mean, these are the grandfathers of the companies. Those are the hearts and souls. These are things that you may have your regular name, like everybody knows Craftsman, but these are the people that really make the stuff, or this is the distributor for that stuff.
I'll have to watch those and see. It's cool just to see historically what was going on in lineage. You see the older stuff. It's very cool. Somebody was just telling me they did a job and they needed a really, really thin wrench to get in. I forget what the heck they were installing. And I said, they do sell super thin wrenches. I have some. I said, the problem is that they're not made for breaking fasteners loose or tightening them. And he said, no, I couldn't use an open end. It had to be it was a 12-point fastener. I was like,
oh yeah.
Then there must be a special tool made for that application that you obviously don't have. I forget what it was, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of drive you crazy.
Yeah, the that business or that line, like I said, there's only a handful of people that make the stuff, and those guys that you really don't hear or know that name or think that they're no longer in existence. Those are original companies.
But there's a boatload of people that like to complain about it. Oh boy, it's like everything else. We talk about brand loyalties for everything that we're involved with, and it gets so deep that it defies sanity. Even it defies even logic. People just, and you see it every day. I mean, that's your business.
Yeah.
So crazy. So
yeah, it is, and again, like I said, it's a funny business.
Yeah. That's a real interesting way of putting it. A funny business. You're right.
Yeah. So hopefully, but we're getting ready to a handful of distributors. We'll have our St. Patrick's Day giveaway. We have is it that time, Ray?
Yeah, we're on the outward slide here. Yeah.
That's it.
So let me cut you short, unfortunately. Tune in on Thursday nights to Plane and Traffic. You'll see Brian and me on that show. And if you're really good, we'll let you in. You can stay late with us and see what we really talk about. But Brian, thank you for coming in and doing duty for Chris. We appreciate it as always.
Yep. Appreciate it as always. Be safe. Play nice.
Right, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you on Thursday on Plane and Traffic. So for Brian, MatcoMan Brian, Ray Guarino, and Chris Switzer out in the ether there, Motormouth Radio is out for the week. We'll see you next week right here on 90.3 WHPC. See ya. Thanks.